Hey everybody, it's Atheist for the Cause here, and I wanted to bring you another video about Martin Shkreli. I think that's how you say his last name. This guy is an asshole, basically. And so he got arrested, and there's going to be a trial. That's the whole point of my video, to bring that news to you. But it's going to start soon and take, like 4 to 6 weeks or something like that. But basically, he's an extremely dishonest person, and he's done terrible things like ordering a 5,000% price hike on a medication for HIV patients and others with compromised immune systems, and then refusing to retreat or apologize repeatedly. And it seems like the way he makes a lot of money is by just buying out where people have made medication. He just buys out the ability to sell that, and then rakes the prices sky high, and makes tons of money. And it possibly kills people, and it definitely, causes a lot of hikes in our insurance payments and premiums and things like that. But that's not the only one he did, because I don't know what all these pills are, which one is the HIV one or not, but basically this one he raised by a factor of 56 from $13.50 to $750 per pill. It's called Daraprim, and they say he's the most hated man in America and Pharma bro. That the media is saying that. So if you hear the term Pharma bro, this is the guy. But there was another one, Turing Pharmaceuticals, the Thiola price hike. It says that he raised the price from $1.50 to $30 per pill, which sounds like a lot, but then it's like, well, maybe people can pay that, right? Except that patients take 10 to 15 pills a day. Even at 10 pills a day on the low end, that's $300 per day. Instead, they were paying $15 a day. It's a big deal. So he's also done, if you go and read through this, he tries to shadily buy out companies to prevent mergers, and he's been kicked out of almost every company he's been in. He is when he buys companies out, a lot of time it's to tank the company, and like he does a lot of things that help him but do horrible damage to the economy, to people's health, things like that. So if you actually he does have some reasonable arguments for price hikes, but he acts like such an asshole. Like, one of his arguments is that you basically need that money to, like, this money that he gets from these people, he puts towards other drug research that then helps more people. That's a reasonable argument, although I don't completely buy it, because when you're raising it to the point that you're killing the people you're trying to help, then it's quite obvious you're working in self-interest, not for some greater good. But I mean, if he wasn't such an asshole about it, he'd probably win some more people over. But take a look at this. He was testifying at a congressional hearing. They had him answer some questions about prices. It wasn't about his trial or anything, and listen to what he has to say, and just look at how he acts.
Thank you. Mr. Shkreli, you did not provide the committee any written testimony. Do you wish to make an opening statement?
On the advice of counsel, I will not be giving an opening statement.
I want to ask you a few questions. What do you
when it starts like that, he's not going to answer much, when he won't even give an opening statement.
That single pregnant woman who might have AIDS, no income, She needs Daraprim in order to survive. What do you say to her when she has to make that choice? What do you say to her?
On the advice of counsel, I invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination and respectfully decline to answer your question.
You were quoted as saying on Fox 5
He uses the term respectfully pretty loosely, as you will see.
New York, you were quoted as saying, if you raise prices and you don't take that cash and put it back into research, I think it's despicable. I think you should not be in the drug business. We take all of our cash, all of our extra profit, and spend it on research for these patients, for other patients who have terrible life-threatening, life-ending diseases. Did you say that?
On the advice of counsel, I invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination and respectfully decline to answer your question.
So he nods his head through the entire thing and then, oh, I can't answer.
Do you think you've done anything wrong?
On the advice of counsel, I invoke my Fifth
Did you
Amendment
see that smirk? And like, look, he's acting like a little child. He is pretty young though. Like he became a CEO or something like that at 19, and then he's only like 35 now, something like that.
against self-incrimination and respectfully decline to answer your question.
I'd like to yield time to Congressman Gowdy of South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is it pronounced Shkreli?
Yes, sir.
See, there you can answer some questions. That one didn't incriminate you.
This is why Gowdy is so good. Trey Gowdy, whether you're a Republican, Democrat, or whatever, damn, he is good at getting people to answer questions. Because a lot of times, this is a good tactic, because a lot of times you'll go from this to like, then they've opened up a bit, and then they might answer something else. You know what I mean?
I just want to make sure you understand, you are welcome to answer questions, and not all of your answers are going to subject you to incrimination. You understand that, don't you?
I intend to follow the advice of my counsel, not yours.
I just want to make sure you're getting the right advice. You do know that not every disclosure can be subject to the Fifth Amendment assertion. Only those that are that you reasonably believe could be used in a criminal prosecution or could lead to other evidence.
I intend to use the advice of my counsel, not yours.
Do you also understand that you can waive your Fifth Amendment right? You gave an interview to a television station in New York where, if I understood you correctly, you couldn't wait to come educate the members of Congress on drug pricing, and this would be a great opportunity to do it. So do you understand you can waive your Fifth Amendment right?
A lot of this is, you know, they know he's not going to answer anything, so they're going to say things that they normally wouldn't, just to try to make him look bad to the public now.
On the advice of counsel, I invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination and respectfully decline to answer your question.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'm vexed. He's been willing to answer at least one question this morning. That one didn't subject him to incrimination. I don't think he's under indictment for the subject matter of this hearing. So the Fifth Amendment actually doesn't apply to answers
I'm gonna skip
that are not
a little
reasonably
bit.
calculated to
I'm gonna skip a little bit because, you know, it's kind of the same stuff, but I want to see more of his body language. So
against you, or we can even talk about the purchase of is it Wu-Tang Clan? Is that the name of the album? Name of the group?
Gentleman is correct.
what he was talking about is this guy like bought a record of the Wu-Tang Clan, I believe, for like $2 million or something like that.
His current pending criminal charges under.
I understand, but he's making
No,
legal
Miss-
arguments.
Oh, this was a little. This was good. Let's get this.
Correct. Trying to.
Mr. Chairman, may I be recognized for a moment?
No, you will not. No, you're not allowed to. Under the House rules, you have not been sworn in.
I understand.
His lawyer stands up and tries to talk. They should have thrown him out. That's what I would have done. They could have, but maybe if they would have thrown him out, then this guy would have left. But still, you know, he's not going to answer anything. the lawyer's talking out of turn, and he is not sworn into, so he can lie technically at this point, where if he lies under oath, then there's punishment for that. So it would, but he's still continuing to talk despite saying no, you can't talk. So they definitely, I would have been interested if they would have kicked him out. That would have been interesting.
Understand that he's making
No,
legal
Miss,
arguments
you
about
are
why
not
he's a
recognized.
lawyer.
You are not recognized, and you will be seated.
So that
The
was a
gentleman from
lawyer.
South Carolina is correct. We were trying to provide an opportunity to have a candid discussion about issues related to drug pricing. We now recognize Mr. Cummings for any questions you might have.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, let me say for the record that I completely support your decision to bring Mr. Shkreli to make sure that he asserted his Fifth Amendment right before this committee. Normally, Democrats on our committee have accepted the assertions of a witness's attorney that his or her client is going to take the Fifth. But in this case, Mr. Shkreli made a number of public comments himself, raising legitimate questions about his intentions.
Look, he's not even looking.
Honestly, I did not know whether he was even going to show up today. So it's nice to see you. But now that he has invoked his constitutional rights, of course I will respect his decision. To Mr. Shkreli, since I have you in front of me, after trying to get you in front of this committee for so long, let me say this. I want to ask you I want to plead with you to use any remaining influence you have over your former company to press them to lower the price of these drugs.
This is kind of interesting. Cummings is basically saying, okay, he's not going to answer anything. So maybe I can get through to him on a personal level, and he doesn't have to respond, but he can go home and think about it, and maybe he'll act different for the betterment of society. And he plays a couple of cards here that I think are powerful, interesting, and could actually be a win-win situation in here where, you really can't get much done. He's not going to answer anything. You're not going to learn anything. So the public's not going to learn much. So I listen to what Cummings asks and think about the cards he's playing, the persuasive cards.
You can look away if you like, but I wish you could see the faces of people, no matter what Ms. Retzlaff says, who cannot.
Look at that. I mean, this is a guy who raised HIV medication 5,000% and probably ended up leading to the deaths of people.
Get the drugs that they need.
And by the way, it's not just a head count. That you always have to remember that. That's always used in wars and stuff. Oh, how many people died in the war, and that's why the war was terrible and stuff. Well, you can't just judge by some things like wars, or in this case, the raise of the drug count by head count. Even if someone survives, their quality of life will be lowered so much by having to pay 5,000% extra.
And by the way, it's the taxpayers. Somebody's paying for these drugs. Somebody's paying. It's the taxpayers that end up paying for some of them. And those are our constituents. People's lives are at stake because of the price increases you impose and the access.
I think he said that to try to get this guy to respect the people that he's selling drugs to, because it doesn't seem like he respects them, and get them to respect the taxpayer, because the taxpayer gives them the check, and it might be a roundabout way to try to. This guy understands money, so speak money to someone who cares about money more than everything else.
the access problems that have been created. You are in a unique position. You really are, sir. Rightly or wrongly, you've been viewed as the so-called bad boy of pharma. You have a spotlight, and you have a platform. You could use that attention to come clean, to right your wrongs, and to become one of the
Look at that face. I mean, my God.
most effective patient advocates in the country, and one that can make a big difference in so many people's lives. I know you're smiling, but I'm very serious, sir. The way I see it, you can go down in history as the poster boy for greedy drug company executives, or you can change the system. Yeah, you. You've detailed the knowledge about drug companies and the system we have today, and I truly believe, are you listening?
Yes.
His lawyer had to tell him to say yes, that he's listening. Did you see that? I'm going to rewind it. His lawyer had to tell him to say yes, that he's listening.
Eve, are you listening?
Say yes.
Thank you. I truly believe you could become a force of tremendous good. Of course, you can ignore this if you like, but all I ask is that you reflect on it. No, I don't ask, Mr. Shkreli, I beg that you reflect on it. There's so many people that could use your help. May God bless you. Thank you. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Mr. Shkreli, it's your intention to decline all answers to the questions and invoke your Fifth Amendment right?
Yes.
Given that the witness has indicated that he does not intend to answer any questions, and out of respect for his constitutional rights, I ask now that the committee excuse the witness from the table without objection, so ordered.
Okay, so they kick him out. And basically, you know, Cummings played a couple other cards like, you know, some people who care a lot about money also care about their name. And sometimes historical prominence. And sometimes you have to make a choice. Do you want to make more money than you already have? Or do you want to sacrifice a little bit of money and, you know, potentially change society for the better? And if you do that, your name goes down in history forever. And people will talk about you, you know, people will look up to you, and to some people that matters, some people they don't. Some people want that extra money. Some people will actually take less money. And in regards to Trump, I actually think that one of my arguments was that with Trump that he part of the reason he wants to be president is to have the power to change the U.S. policies and like set them on a better course. That, you know, the man's like over 70 years old now. It could really cement his name in history if he can turn the U.S. around and get us back to number one in education, and so get us back to number one. Well, we are number one in the economy, but, you know, people are catching us, countries are catching us, so, you know, could he get us, you know, back to where we used to be in dominance? Can we maintain being number one in the military? And, you know, there's a lot of waste, and our military, even though it's been number one, it's been inefficient in some ways. So can he bring that back? Can he create jobs at record numbers? And if you can do all this different stuff, you know, if he can produce a healthcare bill even that's better than Obamacare, he could cement himself in history. You know, if he can drain the swamp and take down the establishments, if he does just that, then he'll go down in history as a great president. And I also think for Trump, it was about his kids. And, you know, I don't know if this guy has kids or not, but that's another card you can play is like, you know, don't you want a better society for your family members that live within society? But anyways, those are just some cards that Cummings was playing to try to get through to him that, you know, not to try to catch him and get him in trouble or anything, but to try to get through to him as a person. Now, you saw him acting like an asshole. This is him getting arrested.
Just told us they're walking him out now.
It's shitty quality, but it's pretty sweet to see. Oh, here he is. To see guys like this get arrested. He's not so cocky anymore, is he? Now watch this. There's going to be something interesting that happens with the cameraman. Not this cameraman, but like another reporter.
Yeah.
I'm not in the car. I'm not in the car.
Some guy...
That was a little uncalled for.
He literally went right in the car to take pictures. But that's that. You know, I'm going to put this article in the description as well as the Wikipedia. You can read. There's a lot of information here about stocks and stuff. He actually was arrested for originally, this says bank fraud or by FBI for fraud, and then this said securities fraud or something like that. So securities and wire fraud trial. There are like 9 different indictments. So anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Keep an eye open for this case because it's going to be really popular and it's going to be all over. And, you know, this guy's an asshole that maybe the federal government can send a message to Pharma that, you know, we can go after you for not only Pharma, but we'll find something and take you down if you want to be an asshole. And hopefully, maybe that's one strategy the government should employ to help improve costs in pharmaceuticals. But I don't know. Only for those who are, you know, obviously acting in bad faith and just trying to make tons of money. Making money is one thing, but there is a point where you're just price gouging. So I'll talk to you guys later.